installing a FASS 165 on my 2007 Dodge Mega Cab Cummins diesel. Chose a FASS due to the new technology they have, whisper quiet technology, some of the design features of how they actually design the ports inside of the pump. Look it up, check out some YouTube videos before you purchase anything. I have had FASS and AirDog on two different previous trucks. Never really had any issues with either one. So I got the Titanium Signature Series 165, and that's what I'll be installing today. Okay, like I said, a little bit of pre-work goes a long ways. So let's get this connection put back on there, hopefully. Okay, hopefully that's crimped in there good. We'll get this wiring harness out of the way. Do a little bit of pre-assembly with these. This is what actually goes on top of your old fuel pump that sits inside the tank. And if I'm correct, these guys are going to go on top. Like so. These little connectors. This is going to actually screw on the end of there. It's going to seal it off. So we can do pre-assembly on all that stuff. And that's just going to save us a bunch of time on the back end. I'm going to go ahead and tighten all that down. These are for the actual pump. So they'll go in your fittings once they're tight, and then one towards the front of the truck as it goes into the CP3 front. So, I mean, that's the basics of it. Pretty straightforward. You get this little nipple guy right here. And this guy's a little important one because he's going to go on the CP3 pump. And it's going to screw into that. So you want to keep this guy in its little baggie. Keep it free of debris. Anytime you're working on a fuel system, obviously you want to keep it free of any debris. So that's what I'm going to do is I'm going to tighten everything up, get it good to go, and then we'll, aka OLDSMKY. So I haven't quite decided if I'm going to take the bed off or if I'm going to drop the fuel tank. Both of them require about the same amount of work. I may take the bed off because I do have a pretty full tank of fuel. And it might just be easier hoisting the bed up so I can get to it and take care of all of it and get it taken off. So wire up everything, feed it back down, and then that way we're ready to start doing the work in back. So let's wire it up. Alright, so we are going to wire it to the battery, and to do so we need to decide what side that the connection is going to go on. It really don't matter on this type of terminal. Both of them have nuts on it. If you have a stud type where you have a stud bolt and a nut, you want to put it on the stud bolt side. But for us today, just gonna add it right here on the side. So I was just thinking to myself, come on now. I just bought some of these ratcheting wrenches. What the heck? So I busted them out. I need to put them to use. That's what I bought them for. Alright. This green guy, he's gonna go on the negative. So we'll put him there. Red guy's gonna go on the positive. Okay. And then we're gonna, it's kind of your own choice, but throw some tape, electrical tape if you got it, around these terminals. Just keep moisture from getting in them. Make them look a little nicer. And I think I have this side if I want to run it on this side. Like that. Or if I want to go ahead and run it this opposite direction. For me, I think the best suited way to run it is going to be this opposite direction. It's going to be just a little bit cleaner, keep the wires all on the same side. So, there she is. I'm gonna go ahead and cinch that back down. Alright, we are done up top. Everything wired. Mounted it right here so it's upright, high up, away from any moisture. And then, as you can see, I got it snaking down there. The wiring, and we are going to go underneath. We're going to start zip tying. We're going to start to zip tie everything just to make sure that the wiring is out of the way. It's not going to snag or get caught on anything. So we will use a pretty decent amount of these zip ties. Just making sure that's nice and clean, tucked in here. Alright, so we're going to remove the filler neck, unscrew those screws there, and then hopefully we got 4 bed bolts and the bed will come right off, but we'll see.
tack welded that thing and painted over it.
Sure does look like spot welding.
Freaking moron.
Oh my god.
We might be dropping the gas tank.
Oh yeah. There's the holes on this other side over here. Okay. Oh yeah. Got a hole in this top.
Alright, I can see way better now.
Yeah, right here.
Yeah, left is on the other side.
Here you go. What's that?
Jack we got holding the bed. Push it back in a little bit.
Oh, have to put back in.
Yeah, just so the bed don't fall on me. We need to probably support it with something else too. There you go.
I pushed it out. This is my way when I start that strap.
Boy, it would have been so much easier if the stupid bed would have came off like it's supposed to. Pull this bed pin. Let me push this ball back out of the way. Pull it out. Pull towards you. Oh, what? That's probably jammed in there.
Another jacket on that plate.
I'll push it a little bit more on that side. That way
That's
it
where we have a little down room. There you go.
keeps it from rolling.
There you go. There you go. Now you have a little down on this side. See, you're off the bolt already almost on the back side. And still about a half inch
on this side. For some reason this one ain't coming off. When they come back up.
Alright, just tell me this.
The strap?
The strap stuck on there. It's threaded.
Go ahead.
See if I can push it. Alright,
Good.
now try again.
Still hold it.
It's still on the damn thread again. This side, back side's loose. It's off of it.
Try again.
Alright, now try it.
Yeah. Something's still catching it. It's not wanting to pull it
I
down.
don't know what's catching it. There's gotta be something else. The bolt's sturdy.
Something else is holding it.
So it must be something at the top. Wire or something catching it.
It's free?
Yeah, it's coming. It's just rolling, still rolling. See when I push down on the arm, it's down off the bolt now almost. You let your jack down, it'll go. It's free of it almost. It's already off the brink now. It'll come down. It's loose right there. It's loose right there.
Oh. Holy shit.
There it is. Let that other jack down, so it's got a bind on it.
That's some weight right there. It looks like it's tilting towards the front.
Yeah, it's going the opposite way. Alright, now take it. There you go. It was going the other way, now it was 50. Alright, so. Oh, now it's that right down slow. There you go.
Okay, clear as kids. Coming down now.
We might not have to take it all the way down there. You got the bed up.
Just dropping enough to get
Just drop it
space.
up to get the space. That may be enough space right there. You're down. I don't know how long that fucking thing is inside there.
Let's see what we got going on. Now we're hanging on the hose now.
Kyle, come here. Come here. You want this?
Hang on the hose.
What's it's a little eggy cheese biscuit?
Let me have the impact. The one to the left.
There's enough room up there, David?
There's way in there too.
I'll do it next time, son.
Well, this hose. The hose is holding it. Got some plugs and stuff on me. It's really hard to see all that shit. It's a shame that bed wouldn't come off.
Yeah, the bed going to be easy.
I don't really use these things properly.
You gotta do is get the hoses off of this.
Yeah. Hanging that thing around. There's some caught on there.
Oh, we got to get this circuit. So much easier.
Way easier. Morons had to weld it. To the damn cab. Come on. There it goes. Come on, baby.
There it goes. It's coming. Moved a lot that time.
I need to pop the other one loose. I think the other one's holding it now.
That's off.
There it goes. Hanging in the rear.
put the FASS 165 fuel system in, you're going to take all this out. These cut right off the ends, and you pull them, and then to get this motor out, you've got to cut the tabs, these little black tabs, and this motor pulls right out. These are two parts that come out of the bottom once you get the motor out. That's at the very bottom. They sit in the bottom of there, and you're going to go ahead and pull those out. And then you're going to pop the screen that falls on the bottom right here, pop it off. Next step's the scariest. You got to cut all this off right here so you can actually drill a 7/8 hole. So that's what we're going to be doing right now. Flat surface, so we're going to smooth this out right here, and we also need a flat surface right here we're going to drill through, so I'm going to go ahead and shave that off as drill a hole in here and here. Alright, so we're going to do this one first. We'll just use the hole that's already there. Clean all the burrs out of the hole. Make sure it's nice and clean. We're going to run through this bit through there again. Now it's nice and smooth. We're going to drill the other one right here. Make your mark. And then smooth it out. Then we're going to put our fittings in there. One thing that doesn't show is you need a smooth surface right here. So we're going to have to take a die grinder and we're going to have to smooth this out. So that way we can have a smooth surface to mount to. Alright, once you're sure you got a pretty smooth mounting surface, then you're done with that. And we can go ahead and put the rest in. We're going to go ahead and clean it up there before we do that. And then we'll show you how to install the fittings. Alright, so next up we got it cleaned up. I put these parts together on the previous video I showed you. So that way it would make it that much easier to install. Everything's tightened already. Just gonna slip it through. Put this washer on the backside. And now that we got the surface all prepped, it's got a nice sealing surface. I'm going to screw this on. tight for now. Make sure everything fits properly. Make sure we don't need to do any more clearance shaving of anything. And it looks like on this one, we're gonna have to trim this a little bit more because the seal isn't quite sealing. It's a little too close. We'll have to shave that one out yet. So we'll go ahead and do that. Do a little more trimming to make space so that seal's right. Even though we just cleaned it off, go ahead and blow it off with that air. Just to make sure there's no debris or anything that get caught up in there. Now we'll go ahead and slide these back in, and we should have plenty of clearance this time. It would be nice if the instructions showed this, by the way. But they don't, so we know what to do. And if you need to know what to do, just watch this video. Alright, it's just hand tight, but you can see everything's sealing properly now. Everything has enough clearance. So we'll go ahead and snug them down. And then we're going to go ahead and install our hoses. This is going to go in here. And then we're going to put our filler hose in here. That's going to be sucking the fuel up. So, I'm pretty sure, and they don't show this either, we'll be drilling or cutting this bottom out. So that's our next step. And we'll smooth the rest out, and then we'll finish it. Alright, we're going to attach the hose. By the way, it would be smart if FASS just made a drop-in. You didn't have to do all this fabrication. For those people that don't have all the tools to do this. Plus, for the money you pay for it, it wouldn't be that bad to give you a new one. Alright, so I'm going to make sure the clamp's in there positioned well. I'm going to put it towards the inside because you don't want it not clearing this lip. So I'm going to turn it towards the inside and tighten it down. And snug is good. I'm going to go ahead and plug that in. These were for the old pump, fuel pump, the factory one. I'm not going to use them. We're going to actually just zip tie it all together here in a second. Make it nice and clean. But next up is putting this filler, this pickup feed tube in here. And it's going to go right here. And we're going to measure and cut it. So the next step is we're going to get a measuring tape and measure the actual fuel tank and cut this guy so he fits in there just perfect. And then we'll go ahead and flip it on there. To the top, we are actually measuring to this lip because that's where it's going to be sealed off at. And right at the lip is 13 inches. If you measure it up right here, it's 12 3/4. So we're gonna go 12 3/4. It needs a 1/4 inch to a 1/2 inch pickup, is what the instructions say on there. We'll probably go 3/8 pickup, and then we'll show you a little trick. That way, if you are getting low on fuel, you don't run out. Okay, guys. So something else to note is this is spring loaded, so you're gonna have to push it together and then measure. So we're going for 12 1/2 roughly. That's going to give us the clearance we need. Less is more, but here we go. 12 1/2. Make a little notch. I made a little mark. And then we're going to just smooth it out. Get all the burrs out, and then you want to look at it down this way, straight down. You'll notice I left this part longer than this part, so that if the bottom of the tank does ever touch it, it's still going to be able to suck fuel, and you won't run out of fuel.
Why are you putting WD-40 on that?
So this is an old seal. We're going to reuse it. It's a little trick. Got some old rubber seal. Put WD-40 on it. It will make it like new, pretty much. It's no longer kind of hard and brittle. It's soft and smooth now. Okay, so we're just zip tying the wires out of the way. Obviously, we don't need the 2 wires that were going to the old fuel pump. That's just going to be down there. But we do need the 2 blue wires. That runs our float and tells us how much fuel is in the gas tank. We definitely want to know how much fuel is in the gas tank, because we wouldn't want to run out of fuel. And if you're working right next to your fuel tank, hold the ends as you cut them. Obviously, you don't want them falling in the fuel tank. Alright, so we're going to drop it back in, and the float's going to go in first, and this is going to be a little snug. You want to make sure the float's not binding on anything, and make sure our seals are all sitting down. And you notice it's already hitting bottom. We got to push it down, remember, because it's spring loaded. Want to make sure that green seal sits in the little groove, and then we want to get ready to put our plate back in place to clip it in. That's going to be a little snug. You see it just seated itself. So once you seat it in there, obviously everything's measured out, should be perfect, but I don't want to drop this tank again for any reason. It is a pain in the butt getting out. So I'm gonna put a little rubber hose on there. And just make sure I can blow air, free flowing. If it was sitting on the bottom of the tank, smashed on the bottom, you obviously wouldn't be able to blow any air very easily. And free flowing, all works good. So we'll go ahead and clean it, throw it back underneath the truck, bolt it back up. Alright, we're gonna roll this bad boy back in here and be as careful as possible. Hold on. This is our wiring harness. It's gonna go connecting to everything in here in a second. This actually connects to the pump. The stock plug is gonna go back in here for the fuel sending unit. Just take your time putting it back in. We're gonna start raising it, and the first thing we're gonna do is once we get it raised, these need to be clipped back in first. Clipping these straps back in place before we go too far. Now that we're clipped in, we'll go up a little higher.
Let me get that heat shit well.
Ready?
We're in a bind over here. The bolt's up against the tank right here. We need to shift the tank that way a little bit. There we go. Now, I'm going to try to push this up and around. Get it on the bolt. It's strapped. Is it strapped down over there or something? What is it hung on? It's not letting me pull it up. Hold on, man. We get too tight. Okay, so you get this strap pushed up. Oh, there it goes. Now go up with it. Now it's on there.
It's on there?
It's on the bolt.
Can we get a bolt on there?
Not yet. We gotta get it up a little bit higher to get a nut on it.
Alright, hold on. You ready?
Let me find the nuts. We got them over here.
Boy, that was perfect timing.
Yeah.
That would have been bad news bears.
It was hanging on one side though.
Yeah. Not exactly going to work. You need to have the bed kind of picked up a little bit so you can reach in there and get to the fuel line hoses. So we're going to go ahead and measure our fuel line hoses, mount them, plug the fuel tank back in, and then we'll actually mount this. So we're going to mock our hose up and run it, cut it, and mount this sucker back up. So we're under the hood. We're taking this off of the CP3 pump right here. I'm not going to need that anymore. I'll just move it off to the side. There, you reuse that washer. And this guy's going to screw in here like that. It's kind of hard to see. Put that on there. So you already have the crush washer. Doesn't look like I need to do any washer in there. They should barely give you enough hose to reach, so make sure you are very careful about how you cut this thing. Gonna need to tighten that down. I don't have a 19 wrench, so crescent's gonna work. You're only looking at 18 pounds anyways, so 18 pounds is not a lot of pressure that you need to be tightening it to. Alright, hose is gonna go on there. Sure it's sucked on there out of the way. And it's on. Now we're gonna drop the filters on there and alright, so this is a FASS 165 lift pump. I've been running it for a couple weeks now. It is extremely quiet, which is a good thing, but it's kinda bad too, because when I first put it on I couldn't tell if it was actually working or not. So we're gonna turn it on and let you hear what it sounds like. So again, that's super quiet to the air dog that we used to have, and it's extremely quiet compared to the old FASS 165 that we had a couple of years ago. The old FASS 165 was extremely loud. You could hear it when the truck was running. So great upgrade in noise, but it is a little hard to tell that it's actually running.